So after everything fell apart in Colorado, I still had to get home. That involved 2 bus rides for a total of 5 hours, and then a 4 hour drive home. The bus rides were all right because I was still surrounded by people, but when I got to the car, it was just me and all the thoughts racing through my head. Somewhere along this journey, I had made the decision that would shape the next year of my life. I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And started asking, what am I going to do about it? That one shift changed everything. The ride home was a mess. The first bus ride was about 45 minutes, and the connecting bus was supposed to leave 5 minutes after my arrival. So the whole ride there, I thought I was going to miss it and have to wait for hours for the next one. When we finally pulled in, I grabbed my backpack and ran. Luckily, the bus was late, and I made it. 3 hours later, I got to Grand Junction, and I called an Uber to my car. When I finally got to my car and started driving home, I drove for about 10 minutes before realizing that I left my luggage in the trunk of the Uber driver's car. So I called him again, found a place to meet up, got my stuff, and I was finally able to start heading home. It just seemed like everything was piling on top of each other. But somewhere along that 4 hour drive, something important happened. I was going through every emotion possible: sadness, anger, numbness, hopefulness, embarrassment, everything. And the breakup kept trying to take over my mind. So every time that I caught myself tearing up or replaying conversations, I forced myself to shift focus. You see, I couldn't control how I felt, but I could control what I did in the next 5 minutes. A few days earlier, I had watched a few YouTube videos about willpower. So one famous experiment suggested that resisting temptation could leave you with less self-control for the next hard task. But another study suggested that people who believed that willpower was unlimited oftentimes exerted more self-control or willpower. Now, whether the science was perfect or not on this didn't really matter to me. What mattered was this: for the first time, I believed that change was actually possible. And once I believed that, I stopped making excuses. That belief became the foundation for everything that followed. So I quit soda immediately. Not one more sip. And I started applying for jobs everywhere. I wasn't looking for my dream job anymore. I was just looking for income. I went to the gym every afternoon, not because I necessarily loved working out. I just needed somewhere to put the pain. And I created little challenges for myself. To exercise my willpower, I essentially forced myself to not look at women in the gym. But at the end of my workout, I would find the most attractive woman that I could find and try and get her number. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Pro tip: if you are approaching women in the gym, they will almost always tell you that they have a boyfriend. 95% of the time. And you can't really blame them. However, the fun little line that I used to get over that, believe it or not, was, "Oh, perfect, you're just my type." And I kid you not, that got such a positive reaction from most of them, and you were able to get a few numbers. Now, this is not to say that these women had boyfriends and they were giving me their numbers. Those that actually had boyfriends did not give me their numbers, but they still chuckled and we had a little friendly conversation, and that was that. But for those who use the boyfriend excuse as a guard to prevent people like me from approaching them at the gym, it brought their guard down. They laughed, they asked me what my name was, and it worked out great. So, fun little pro tip. The point being that approaching women at the gym was a way for me to kind of improve my skill set in talking to women, get over my fear of talking to beautiful women. And yeah, I was also extremely strict on my diet. I ate just one meal every other day, and it was usually just a rotisserie chicken. Now, I can't give all the credit to willpower on that one because a lot of it was just I didn't have an appetite. I also finally made an Excel sheet and created my first real budget. I tracked my debts, my subscriptions, my income, everything. I found that I was still paying roughly $1,000 a month on random things for my ex. So obviously I stopped, and I started to put every extra dollar towards my smallest debt using the snowball method. I also started walking my dog every day. I was obsessed with finding ways to improve every aspect of my life, whether that was my hair, my teeth, my hygiene, my confidence, my energy, whatever. I was trying to improve every single aspect. And it wasn't an obsession with perfection. It was an obsession with progress. And if I'm being honest with myself, it worked. Just 30 days later, I had lost over 30 pounds. I went from 240 to 207. My confidence came back. My energy increased. My finances started turning around. My relationship with my son got better. For the first time in months, I felt like I was finally moving forward. That first month completely changed me. But there was still one problem. I wasn't enjoying my life. The problem was that everything felt forced. Every workout, every meal, every hard conversation, every productive decision. It felt like I was pushing a boulder uphill every day. There were results, lots of results, but the process itself felt dim. There wasn't much excitement, there wasn't much anticipation, and there definitely wasn't much joy. I was winning, but I wasn't having fun. That's a dangerous place to be, because eventually life did stop feeling like an emergency. I met someone new who I love very much, but I did start skipping the gym to spend time with her. I slowly gained weight again, and I stopped relying on pure willpower. Not because I decided to quit, I just stopped thinking about it. Life got comfortable again. Looking back, I'm incredibly grateful for that season. Willpower did get me moving, and it proved that I wasn't lazy. It proved that I could change, but it also taught me something more important. It could get me started, it just couldn't keep me forever. About a year later, I did discover something else that actually worked immediately and stuck with me. So how did I figure out how I could stay productive forever? You'll have to like and subscribe to find out, and I'll see you in the next video.